There are love stories that end with fireworks and confetti. There are love stories that drift into sunsets, hand in hand, peaceful and warm. And then there are stories like the one between Gerry Turner and Theresa Nist. Stories that begin with breathtaking hope, travel through a whirlwind of romance, and eventually settle into something far more complicated than anyone watching ever expected. When they first met, it felt like an entire audience let out a single collective sigh. Two hearts, both experienced, both seasoned by life's ups and downs, stepping onto a journey few ever dare to take so late in life. They laughed, they connected, they held hands like teenagers, rediscovering the sweetness of new affection. People rooted for them, cheered for them, hung on to every moment they shared. Their wedding was beautiful, emotional, an event that made many believe in second chances all over again. But sometimes real life doesn't honor the script we expect it to follow. Just a few months after exchanging vows, things began unraveling. Whispers turned into confirmations, smiles faded into silence, and the couple who once made hearts swell across the country suddenly found themselves walking very different paths. By the time the big season finale arrived, the night meant to celebrate love stories, new and old, everyone wondered whether the two of them would dare attend the same event. The tension around this question grew with each passing day until the truth finally surfaced. They would be there, but not together, and not by accident. Both Gerry and Theresa agreed to come only under specific conditions. They asked to be kept apart, not side by side, not in the same camera frame, not even in a position where bumping into each other in a hallway was a possibility. They had drawn their boundaries, clearly, firmly, and without hesitation. It's important to remember, behind the cameras, behind the lights, behind the polished interviews, these are two real people. Two people who shared dreams, plans, and hopes they believed would last. And sometimes when things end, the emotional distance can feel safer than the physical closeness that once brought so much comfort. When they arrived at the venue that night, the room shifted just slightly. Nothing dramatic, nothing chaotic, just a faint, nearly invisible ripple of energy that always shows up when two people with history are in the same space after a difficult chapter. The crews were prepared, their teams were prepared. Everyone knew their wishes, and everyone honored them with careful coordination. Despite the initial tension, the evening slowly found its rhythm. Gerry took his seat beside his new partner for the night, appearing calm and composed. Theresa arrived looking radiant, smiling broadly, greeting fans, greeting friends, doing her best to focus on the positive energy swirling around her. They each enjoyed the show separately, both seemingly determined to reclaim their own joy, even if that joy needed to happen in opposite corners of the room. Observers noted the distance between them, but something unexpected happened along the way. The longer the evening went on, the more the air settled. That heavy feeling earlier in the night gradually softened. Maybe it was time doing its gentle work. Maybe it was the noise of the audience. Maybe it was simply the reality that life does move forward, even when wounds haven't fully healed. No one forced them together. No awkward introductions, no pressure to pose for photos, no attempts to create a dramatic reunion. And for once, that felt like the respectful choice. Both deserved a night free from discomfort and free from the expectations placed on them simply because they once wore rings. While Gerry remained mostly low-key, Theresa seemed to embrace the evening with unrestrained ease. She laughed with cast members, took pictures, and enjoyed herself in a way that suggested she was reclaiming her happiness, one smile at a time. She looked like someone discovering freedom again, relief, confidence, and a sense that life still had plenty of joy to offer. Meanwhile, Gerry appeared thoughtful, reflective even, not distant, but quiet, like a man who had lived through something complicated and was still sorting through the pieces. The two of them stood on entirely separate emotional islands, and perhaps that separation was exactly what they needed. There is a strange beauty in endings, not dramatic ones, not bitter ones, but endings that simply acknowledge that two hearts can love, fail, and still choose peace over conflict. It is the kind of ending that requires strength, dignity, and acceptance. And for Gerry and Theresa, acceptance meant honoring boundaries instead of forcing interactions that would only reopen old wounds. Although they kept their space, the audience felt something else that night. Not tension, not anger, something more gentle, something closer to letting go.
Don't always break because of a single moment or a single disagreement. They sometimes break because life pulls two people in different directions, because hopes shift, because dreams evolve. And when those dreams no longer align, it doesn't make either person wrong. It just makes the next chapter inevitable. It is possible that Gerry and Theresa came to understand this in their own separate ways. It is possible they learned something about themselves in the process. And it is possible that showing up at the same event without acknowledgement, without confrontation, without a single shared glance, was their quiet way of proving they had both moved forward, even if their paths now lead to different destinations. The future for each of them is still unwritten. Their story continues, just not together. Fans will always wonder what happened, what changed, what shifted so dramatically after such a promising start. But some answers belong only to the people who lived the chapter themselves. What truly matters is that both Gerry and Theresa showed up, stood tall, honored their boundaries, and held onto their dignity. They refused to let discomfort define their presence. They allowed the evening to glow with celebration instead of tension. And maybe, just maybe, this was the final thread they needed to gently untangle before embracing the next chapter of their lives. Life rarely gives us neat endings wrapped in perfect bows. Sometimes closure arrives not with words, but with distance, not with reconciliation, but with the quiet understanding that healing happens privately, in the heart, in the places we don't show the world. As the night came to an end and the cameras shut off, each of them walked out into the evening air from different exits. They left exactly the way they arrived, separately, independently, confidently. And perhaps that is the truest sign that they are ready to move forward, ready for whatever comes next, ready to step into their own happiness without the weight of what once was. Whether people agree with their choices or not, the truth remains. Two real humans made the decision that felt right for their emotional well-being. They didn't argue, they didn't force, they simply drew a line of peace between them and honored it. And now the story turns to the viewers, the people who watched their journey from the very beginning. What do they think? Were they surprised? Did they expect this distance? Or does this feel like the only choice two people could make after such a complex chapter? If you're watching this, share your thoughts. Because stories like this, messy, emotional, human stories, always leave room for reflection. And while this may not be the love story fans hoped for, it remains a story worth telling, because not every ending needs fireworks to be meaningful. Sometimes the quietest endings are the ones that teach us the most.